Up next, and every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern, tune in to Grand Theft Auto Biographies with Guinness Walker. And don't forget Grand Theft Auto Geographies, Fridays at 9 a.m. Eastern. Only on Weazel, confirming your prejudices.
Warning, this program is entirely fictional, made by a sole Canadian man. All characters and events in the show, including the host, even those that are based on real people, are entirely fictional. The following program contains mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
America. The land of the free, home of the brave, and the stupid, and the criminally insane.
Can't stop me. He's in it for those boats.
The United States has seen its fair share of gangbangers, mobsters, and psychotics who've roamed our beloved streets, causing untold chaos, destruction, and corruption. Tonight on Grand Theft Auto Biographies. Addiction, paranoia, and self-interest. These are but some of the traits plaguing the subject of tonight's episode. We will examine a man consumed by his own cravings for illicit substances.
Man, don't do that! You'll saute the both of us!
Recognition.
I could drive as well as CJ, man, I'm telling you.
And a slice of the elusive American dream.
I need to be in charge of my destiny, homie.
We will follow another gangster of the Grove Street families who worked alongside notorious figures from across San Andreas and his confusing, seemingly contradictory rise and fall as a dominant player in the West Coast criminal underworld. A man whose stature and position as a second fiddle to several more powerful criminal actors may have caused his preventable and arguably tragic downfall. Lance Ryder Wilson. This episode of Grand Theft Auto Biographies brought to you by my incredible supporters on Patreon. Sign up today to get all the music from my shows, early access, and a spot in the credits. If you enjoy this series, consider subscribing and hitting the bell icon to get notifications of new uploads. It costs you nothing, and it helps the channel tremendously. Thank you for watching, and enjoy the show. Lance Ryder Wilson was most likely born in Ganton, San Andreas, possibly even on Grove Street, though as is almost always the case with criminals we examine on this program, exact details of Ryder's early life are difficult to ascertain. Who Wilson's parents were, or what happened to them, remains a mystery, but we have reason to believe that his father was an above-average height man, who may or may not have been involved in gang activity himself, just like his son would go on to be. We believe that Ryder was closer in age to Carl C.J. Johnson, of Grove Street families, and was therefore likely born sometime in the late 1960s or possibly very early 1970s. Whatever the case, by the age of 10, Lance Wilson was already selling drugs to his fellow kids and presumably even teens in and around his school in the Ganton area. It was likely at a very young age that Wilson began going exclusively by his street name, Ryder, which may be a reference to his frequent role as backup to other members of the gang he ran with, the gangsters of Grove Street. Ryder would become good friends from a young age with fellow Grove Street members Sean, Brian, and Carl Johnson, as well as Grove Lieutenant and longtime friend of the families, Melvin Big Smoke Harris, slowly working his way into a position of authority amongst the other gangsters. While still attending school, presumably secondary school, Ryder would be so devoted to his role as a Grove OG that he would be expelled after an incident which saw him assault a teacher for the crime of daring to wear the purple colors of Grove Street's main rivals, the Ballas. This would seemingly barely faze the rebellious and anti-authoritarian Ryder, who concluded that he'd been too intelligent for school in the first place. It is unknown when exactly Ryder began to use drugs regularly, but given his role as a dealer since childhood, it could have been far earlier than the typical drug user, and likely contributed to his deteriorating mental state that resulted in paranoia and fidgeting by his 20s. Ryder's drug of choice was a particularly dangerous combination of the otherwise benign cannabis cigarettes that were dipped in a special concoction of PCP, colloquially referred to as water on the streets of San Andreas. This highly addictive substance was almost certainly a contributing factor in the actions Ryder would go on to take, which arguably caused his own demise. In 1987, now a high-ranking member of the Grove Street families, and effectively fourth in line for leadership, Ryder's life would drastically change, along with the other core members of Grove Street, when Brian Johnson is killed in an incident which many blamed his brother Carl C.J. Johnson for. With immense guilt on his shoulders, C.J. would leave Los Santos to live on the East Coast, and leave a temporary gap in the Grove's leadership, which Ryder stepped in to fill. With C.J. gone and the introduction of crack cocaine into the neighborhoods of Los Santos, Ryder would become more and more essential to the gang as its power deteriorated, and his reckless but often effective method of executing gang operations would make him the unofficial second-in-command for the gang. He would help Sweet during Carl's absence to try and maintain the Grove's power, all the while continuing his reckless habitual drug use and frequent clashes with other gangsters and the law. By 1992, Grove Street had fallen from grace as the most dominant gang in Los Santos and had been rapidly losing power and influence following the departure of Carl Johnson. At this time, Ryder's fellow Grove Street gangbanger, Melvin Harris, better known as Big Smoke, would attempt to convince the Grove's leader, Sweet Johnson, to allow the sale of crack cocaine in Grove-controlled neighborhoods, with the Grove's anti-coke stance being one of the main contributing factors to the gang's decline. When Smoke, who had been secretly working alongside elements of the Grove's most bitter enemies, fails to convert Sweet to his way of thinking, he instead approaches the more manipulatable Ryder with a proposition of money and power in exchange for betraying his friends in the gang, at least for now. Unlike Big Smoke, the reasons for Ryder's defection to working with Smoke, and by proxy the corrupt crash division of the LSPD, the Los Santos Vagos, and even the Russian Mafia, is unclear. Ryder served as the effective second-in-command of the Grove for at least 5 years, and though his actions both before and after his betrayal continued to help the Grove in tangible ways, unlike the far more deceptive Big Smoke, whatever his reasons, Ryder would begin working alongside Smoke and his growing network of allies, all of whom had a vested interest in the downfall of the gang he had himself dedicated much of his life to. Sometime after Ryder's decision to help Big Smoke peddle crack in the Grove, Smoke would orchestrate an assassination attempt on Sweet Johnson, which fails to kill the Grove leader and instead results in the death of the Johnson family matriarch, Beverly. It is unknown if Ryder was fully aware of the details surrounding the assassination, but according to our own research it appears he was at least aware that Sweet would likely be killed. Given his actions following Beverly's death, it is logical to assume that Ryder had only been aware the attempt would happen, and was caught off guard just as much as the rest of the Grove when Beverly was killed instead, ushering in the return of Carl C.J. Johnson for the funeral. Ryder would attend the ceremony alongside C.J., Sweet, and Big Smoke, and the only woman of the Johnson siblings, Kendall Johnson. While we speculated on our episode following the life of Ryder's associate Big Smoke from last week that the attack at Beverly's funeral was likely another attempt on Sweet Johnson's life, it is less clear if Ryder was again involved in the planning of the attack, or if he had any prior knowledge to how it would take place before attending himself. It may be further proof that Ryder was once again only aware of a possible attempt and not privy to any details when he is nearly killed during the initial drive-by, though it should also be noted that like Big Smoke, he too was thereafter safe from the pursuing Bala's cars, who targeted Sweet and CJ exclusively. When all 4 Grove OGs safely arrive back at Grove Street, Ryder's first interaction with his old friend CJ would be antagonistic, criticizing Carl for his size and embarrassing haircut, perhaps still bitter at Carl's sudden departure 5 years prior.
Hey man, what you want?
Seeing my homie. What's up with you?
Yeah, homie. Yeah, it's good to see you back.
No homie love? No hug?
Oh, for sure, my nigga. My bad. What's cracking with you?
Hey man, what you strapped for?
Man, some pizza place keeps paying no raw hit up, man. Shit is beautiful. Teach the owner a lesson. The fucking Grove Street. You down?
I'm always down.
Let's go, bitch.
Ryder would continue to give CJ a hard time as he reacquainted his childhood friend with their neighborhood, and CJ would quickly learn that the drug-dealing, teacher-assaulting Ryder had changed very little in his half-decade stint on the East Coast. When Ryder very nearly gets both of the gangsters killed when he attempts to rob the same pizza store he had been robbing for years on Carl's first day back.
Give up the money. This a raid.
Ryder, not this again.
It ain't me, fool.
No one else is that small. I feel sorry for your dad.
Shit, you crazy. Let's get up out of here.
Same old CJ. Buster. Straight Buster. Oh, shit. Run.
With Carl now back and helping the Grove to get back on its feet, Ryder would be silently demoted back into third or arguably fourth in line behind the reunited Johnson brothers and Big Smoke. He would spend his time, as he'd often done, either hanging out with Sweet and Smoke or digging through his backyard to unearth more of his enormous stash of PCP. Being in alliance with the Ballas behind the Grove's back and working with Big Smoke to allow the sale of crack cocaine, Ryder would play the role he'd always played, leaving little room for suspicion from his fellow gangbangers, especially given his previous history of eccentric behavior. When Carl shows interest in helping to clean up the hood of crack dealers, Ryder would personally show CJ the extent of the epidemic he himself was playing a role in perpetuating. Ryder would even take the initiative in tracking down the formerly loyal Grove Street member Beat Up with Carl's help, and when his welcome is less than friendly, takes the lead in finding a dealer actively selling to Grove Street gangsters, helping to exercise his twisted form of justice.
You sure he still live here?
Fool, I told you this is.
Open up!
Who the fuck is it? CJ, the fuck you want? Get the fuck out of here.
Wait, hold up, man. What happened to for life, nigga?
The only thing that matters is the hood, homie. But you'll never understand what getting this money is like. You know what, man? Get the fuck out of here for you be laying on your back. Big Bear, come check this fool.
Hey, Bear? Big Bear, that's you? Hey, you still from the hood, homie, or
Nah,
what?
the only thing Bear give a fuck about is smoking and keeping my house clean. Ain't that right, Big Bear?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, what?
Hell yeah, sir.
Now go make that motherfucking toilet spark.
No, man.
Man. Bear, come on.
Everyone likes to party sometimes, CJ. I'll see you around.
Stay the fuck from round here, punk.
Hey, nigga, fuck you.
It's just fucked up.
I see what you mean now, man. If crack can do that to Big Bear, turn him into a base slave, the average motherfucker ain't got a chance.
Damn dope fiends and drug addicts everywhere in the city. Piss me off.
Look like it's up to us then.
Ryder would further contradict his secret alliance with the Ballas when afterwards, he leads Carl to a crackdown on the edge of Idlewood and personally takes a bat to several strung-out Ballas, with CJ finishing them off.
Good afternoon, baller dope pushers. Grove Street OGs come to do damage.
During another incident which we speculated in our last episode may have been a plot by Big Smoke to once again try and kill Sweet, Ryder would be the first to point out incoming Kilo Trace set Ballas, as they prepared to spray the gang's vehicle and return to Grove Street for further bloodshed.
Hey, don't we got beef around here? We been getting into it with these fools.
I can't stand cold food. Unlike you, I ain't never ate from a trash can.
Oh, shit. Trash can bitch.
Pass me my food.
Hey, look. Kilo Trey scoping us out.
Damn, Ryder, you a jinx.
Shit, them motherfuckers headed to the hood.
Drive by!
Given Ryder's proactive involvement during the subsequent shootout, unlike his fellow conspirator Big Smoke, we believe this was another instance of Ryder being conflicted in his allegiances and choosing in the moment to try and save himself and his friends, over coming up with an excuse to not fight back, like Smoke had done. Ryder would even give Big Smoke a hard time for not participating in the shootout himself, and instead eating all of Ryder's food, though this may have been him simply covering his own story, or further proof that Ryder's cognitive dissonance regarding his two-handed deeds truly allowed him to simultaneously help and hinder his friends with real conviction in both actions. Also around this time, Ryder would participate in a drive-by shooting alongside the other core members of Grove Street, in which he once again took an active role in killing Ballas, despite his alliance with them. Ryder would begin antagonizing Carl for his driving as well, claiming the East Coast had changed CJ, continuing to show glimpses of his potential jealousy, which may have been at the center of Ryder's underhanded actions.
I could drive as well as CJ, man, I'm telling you. Yeah. Hey, homie, what's up?
Hey, what you saying about me, fool?
What's up, man?
I'm saying that the East Coast made you drive like an idiot, fool. Man, you always crashing cars and shit. And for some reason now you back. All it is CJ drive here, CJ drive there. Bullshit.
Man, won't you just take it easy?
No disrespect, man, but you can't drive for shit.
Thanks, man. Nah. Say what you really mean.
You such a good gunman, homie. You gotta ride shotgun. Show CJ what's cracking.
Hey, you know something? You right. Cheers, CJ. You can drive, homie.
He's tripping.
This is one of the only incidents in which Ryder's fellow conspirator Big Smoke also participated in the shootout, so it's possible this attack had been justified by Smoke, who had a closer tie to the Ballas' leadership, and may have cleared the killings, but we cannot know for sure. In addition to Ryder's role in helping CJ to take back the Grove while secretly being allied with the Ballas, Ryder would also, like Smoke, work with Carl individually on a series of jobs which Ryder claimed were to help the gang. Being a paranoid and highly impulsive person, Ryder would first hire CJ to help him rob a Vietnam veteran living in East Los Santos.
Damn.
What you doing? Digging graves?
Damn, where the fuck I put it, man?
Put what, nigga?
Man, the fucking water. Need a little something before I go deal with things.
What things, fool?
My homie LB, he told me about this army motherfucker who got all the guns we need. Not that old school Emmett bullshit neither.
I'm down. Let's roll.
Jill, you always down, homie. Apart from when you ain't around here.
Nigga, fuck you.
Damn! Man, you want some of this?
Nah, man. I'm cool on that. Where we going?
This tilt overlooking East Beach. Better yet, you better wait until it's dark. Catch the motherfucker while he in bed.
Yeah, I'm feeling that.
Yeah, that's it. Come on, nigga, what you
Let
waiting
it
for?
go.
Look.
With his signature streak of rebellion, Ryder and CJ would rob the Colonel Furberger and offload several crates of firearms to deliver to a lockup owned by Ryder's associate, LB. Despite succeeding in the robbery, Ryder would continue to give Carl hassle and even possibly hint at his true motivations by being ungrateful for Carl's assistance and arguing with him the entire time.
You see, I told you. Simple.
Yeah, that was a real breeze.
Say, CJ, you gotta get it in your head that this is everyday shit, homie.
Okay, look, I'm tired. I'll see you later.
All right, Holmes. Just think about what I said.
Later, Ryder and CJ would be directly approached by his allies in Crash, officers Frank Tenpenny and Eddie Pulaski, who disclosed the arrival of a train containing more weapons in an effort to keep the gangs of Los Santos fighting amongst each other. Though Ryder was technically allied with Tenpenny, they shared no love for each other and likely had little to no contact outside of this and one other known instance, with Big Smoke serving as the primary mouthpiece of the duo of Grove Street turncoats. Tenpenny would even use his leverage over Ryder as well as his authority as an LSPD officer to steal from his personal stash of PCP, which Ryder cooked himself, very dangerously, on his stove in his single-story home. Carl and Ryder would manage to collect the guns from the train, they'll be forced to deal with the Vagos and Ballas gangsters whom Tenpenny had also alerted, as well as collect the crates while CJ tossed them from the back of the moving train. Finally, Ryder would work with CJ on what was likely his most harebrained and dangerous mission of all, robbing the National Guard depot at the ocean docks, with little more than a light-caliber weapon and a drug-fueled determination.
Rock!
Yeah, CJ. Hey, CJ, tell me why I didn't finish high school.
Because you've been dealing drugs, man, since the age of 10.
No, that ain't it.
Because you had put hands on that teacher for wearing baller colors.
No, that ain't it either. It's cause I'm too intelligent for this shit, man. I am the real deal, fool. Oh, yeah. A genius.
Oh, yeah.
Who has more straps than anybody? Who has all the straps, huh?
A man with a lot of guns. Shit, I give up.
The army, my nigga. The army. Let's go.
Yeah.
Go hit
Get
the
that
way.
out my face,
Go
man.
hit the
You
way.
don't fuck with
Oh,
that,
come
man.
on, man.
Come on.
Buster.
Amazingly, and almost entirely thanks to the ingenuity of Carl Johnson, Ryder and CJ would actually succeed in offloading the several crates of weapons from a warehouse at the docks, while fighting off several weekend soldiers, and Ryder would even further show his unhinged and unpredictable nature when he began tossing crates of explosives into the streets at their pursuers. Following the death and madness of the barely successful operation, CJ would refuse to work with Ryder any longer, chalking up his erratic and careless behavior to his unwavering addiction to hard drugs.
That shit was tight.
Tight. Man, that shit was shit.
Man, you say you down for the homies, but all you do is complain.
Although CJ and Ryder wouldn't work together again, Ryder would continue to be present for several major key events to the Grove's rapid decline. When the recently released Jeffrey O.G. Loke Martin hosts a homecoming party at his house on Grove Street, CJ, Sweet, and Ryder would all attend, with Ryder being particularly unimpressed with the new rapper's lyrical flow.
Damn, man, his lyrics is horrible.
That dude needs some work, man.
Hell yeah.
What up, fellas?
Hey, what's up with you, baby?
So you back on the block, huh?
Hell yeah.
You a real killer, huh?
What he done that I ain't, huh?
Let's stall him out,
Hey,
nigga.
relax, man.
Hey! A baller's posse's about to run up. They're headed up here right now.
Looks like we backed them ballers against the wall, huh?
Hey, CJ, strap up. Scroll Street.
When the party is interrupted by yet another attack courtesy of the Ballas, Ryder would disappear from the fighting, claiming he was going to get backup, including Big Smoke. Given that it doesn't appear as though Smoke or Ryder returned for the battle, this may have been Ryder showing his true colors once again, though it isn't clear. It seems highly likely that Ryder's frequently contradictory behavior may have caused him to confront Smoke regarding his possible involvement with the house party attack. However, we don't have facts to back this up, and it is mere conjecture on our part. Flip-flopping once again, not long after, Ryder would participate in a meeting alongside Sweet, CJ, and Smoke with the goal of reuniting the fractured Grove Street gang sets. But the meeting would be interrupted by yet another ambush, this time by the LSPD forces, that we have previously speculated on this program may have been tipped off by Big Smoke.
I don't like this, man. Look at all them other family hoods. They used to be Grove Streets.
Relax. We straight, they straight. How about you, Smoke?
Hey, I'm feeling a little exposed, but I'm good.
This is the Los Santos Police Department. Everybody stay where you are.
Oh, shit!
All units, rock and roll.
Man, what you doing?
Go, get back in, man. We out of here, baby.
I ain't leaving my brother. I ain't no buster.
Man, it's every motherfucker for himself.
Ryder and Smoke would initially flee the conflict as CJ ran inside to rescue Sweet, but eventually, perhaps after together evaluating the possible ramifications of abandoning the brothers should they manage to survive, they would return to pick up the brothers as they fled the scene, just in time. After a mad chase across much of East Los Santos, the gang would ditch the vehicle and go their separate ways.
Woo! Fuck this. We gotta get out of here.
Ryder's right. Everybody split up. We'll meet up later.
Though up until that point, Ryder had managed to keep anyone but Smoke from learning of his betrayal, CJ, now working with boyfriend DeKendall Johnson's Cesar Villalpando, would finally learn the truth about his friend. While we've made it clear the extent of Ryder's knowledge surrounding the multiple assassination attempts on Sweet Johnson by Big Smoke is unclear, we can say for certainty that Ryder had some direct involvement with the Ballas, on at least a couple of occasions, the following being one of them.
What the fuck? Oh, no. Shit, Smoke, what you into?
Shh, that's it. Look at that ride.
That's the motherfucking green Saber. Shit, Smoke? Crash making you sell us out? Moms! Oh, fuck! Sweet! Look, go get Kendall and take her to a safe place.
What you thinking?
It's Sweet. I think him and the homies is walking into a trap. Just go. Go!
CJ would be correct, and he and Sweet would barely survive yet another ambush by the Ballas under the Mulholland intersection, which saw Sweet arrested and Carl exiled. Ryder was now, once again, second in command. With Sweet and Carl gone from Los Santos, Big Smoke at this time would essentially declare himself the crack cocaine kingpin of the entire state, and begin overtly peddling his drugs on the streets and showcasing his theatrical and pseudo-philanthropic side on national radio. Ryder would once again be consigned to operate under Big Smoke, though he would be given a relatively important job in serving as the main liaison to Smoke's new allies in the San Fierro-based Loco Syndicate. Ryder would meet with the heads of the organization Jizzy B, T-Bone Mendez, and unbeknownst to him, undercover agent Mike Torino, and set up supply routes for Big Smoke's operation to run drugs and money between the cities.
There it is, Holmes.
Ryder, you shermhead!
This business is bigger than any gang, S.A.
Ryder, little bitch!
Unfortunately for Ryder, in the end he chose the losing side, as CJ would manage to slowly infiltrate the ranks of the syndicate and dismantle the organization from the inside out. After gaining Jizzy's trust, he would betray and kill the pimp before turning his attention to his former friend.
Hey, okay. Yeah, I see you. That was Woozy's boys. They're in place. Look down by the side entrance.
Shit, they heading up to the roof.
Shit! Mina, we're gonna have to take out T-Bone's men on the rooftop before this whole gig blows wide open.
Man, my busing was tight.
Here comes T-Bone.
And here's that snake Ryder. Look at that fool, hanging out with the ballers like they was lifelong pals. Something ain't right. Where's Torino?
Chopper inbound!
That's gotta be Torino.
At Pier 69 in San Fierro, where the syndicate was based, Ryder would meet with T-Bone Mendez and several other Ballas gangsters to continue their dealings following Jizzy's death, and be caught off guard by CJ sniping their forces from a nearby roof. With assistance from Cesar Villalpando and the Mountain Cloud Boys under Wootsy Moo, CJ would push through Ryder and T-Bone's defenses, and eventually Carl and Cesar would personally gun down Mendez. Ryder would attempt to flee, leaping off the side of the pier to an escape out nearby, but his childhood friend Carl Johnson would finally put an end to things and kill Lance Wilson as he tried to flee.
Hey, Ryder, sherm-head asshole, where you think you going?
Can't stop me.
He's headed for those boats!
Don't worry about it, I got this.
In the aftermath of Ryder's death, Carl Johnson would lament the power that money and drugs had had over his friendships and mourn the loss of his friend. Though Cesar Villalpando would attempt to comfort CJ while simultaneously discrediting Ryder by telling Carl about Ryder's proclivity for the only female Johnson sibling.
Fucking Ryder, man. That was my homie. And I killed him.
Fucking midget deserved it, eh? Little asshole tried to bang your sister, you know that?
No. For real? Shit. Maybe you right then, man, but...
Cheer the fuck up! You're going soft on me, man. You did something good, eh?
Lance Wilson, aka Ryder, was an insecure and confusing human being. Constantly contradicting his own words and actions and seemingly being impossible to nail down, Ryder was an enigma of a man who rarely allowed others to know the real him. His relationship with his parents remains unknown, but we speculate it could not have been good, given the fact that Ryder was dealing drugs by the age of 10 and assaulting teachers for imagined gang associations. He was violent, brash, and often unpredictable, putting himself and his friends in danger on a regular basis out of either incompetence or ambivalence. Ryder lived his entire life in the shadows of others, both figuratively and, according to many of his less than friendly associates, literally. Despite technically being taller than CJ, Ryder's posture meant that he was constantly derided as being short, something which angered him greatly and was one of the many triggers for his violent outbursts. This Napoleon complex seemed to characterize much of what Ryder did in general, often attempting to one-up his fellow gangsters or knock them down a peg, likely as a means of compensating for his own insecurities. Despite all of this, Ryder was not without his redeeming traits, at least in the eyes of his fellow gangsters and on a surface level. Unlike his ally Big Smoke, Ryder's actions during CJ's return to Los Santos do not appear to have been secretly in aid of Big Smoke's operation, though this possibility should not be ruled out. Assuming it was not, Ryder clearly played both sides of the conflict, helping Big Smoke or at the very least not interfering with his many attempts on Sweet's life, and also arming the Grove with better weapons, even risking his life multiple times to do so. For any regular person this may seem completely mad, and it was, though it becomes clearer when one remembers Ryder's intense addiction to psychoactive drugs. While Ryder and many of the Grove Street OGs partook in smoking the relatively harmless cannabis cigarettes common among gangsters at the time, he was the only one of the group to experiment dangerously with water or PCP-laced joints. This dangerous chemical mixture clouded Ryder's mind and judgment, given that he was known to essentially always be under its influence, likely playing a large role in his two-facedness. Ryder was so addicted and paranoid that he kept enormous stashes of PCP buried in his backyard, which he would frequently forget the exact locations of, later returning to frantically search for them in a drug-fueled haze. On top of everything else, Ryder is alleged by Cesar Villalpando of the Barrios Las Aztecas to be somewhat of a sexual predator, or at the very least, a sleazeball. According to Villalpando, at some point he tried to sleep with Kendall Johnson, despite the taboo of dating a set member's sister, and his surface-level loyalty and friendship with Carl and Sweet. Lance Ryder Wilson was an average height, despite his bad posture, African-American man with a lanky build. He was not known for being particularly strong, but was strong enough to catch heavy boxes of firearms or explosives from the back of a moving vehicle while maintaining his balance. He wore baggy clothes, mostly windbreakers, at all times, and had medium-length black hair, which he always kept tucked under a signature black baseball cap. The totality of crimes committed by Ryder is, like the man himself, difficult to pin down. Like his fellow Grove Street gangsters, he participated in numerous drive-bys, gang hits, and other illegal activities throughout his entire life, and due to the street code of silence, much of this, perhaps the majority of it, will remain unreported and undocumented. What crime we do know Ryder is responsible for comes mostly from 1992, due to his association with other high-level criminals whose profiles would expose Ryder's involvement in one of the most prolific drug rings on the West Coast. With all of that being said, let's take a look at his possible rap sheet. Selling drugs, as a minor. Assaulting a teacher, as a minor. Participating in numerous gangbangs, drive-bys, and other illegal activities from his youth to 1987. Accessory conspiracy drug distribution when he begins working with Big Smoke. Possession of illegal firearms. Attempting to rob a pizza store on multiple occasions. Possible accessory murder of a pizza store clerk. Assaulting a drug dealer in Ganton. Assaulting a group of ballas in Idlewood and possibly killing some of them. Accessory murder when killing a group of Kilo Tre ballas. Participating in a drive-by shooting in several ballas neighborhoods. Possible accessory theft of a van. Accessory breaking and entering and theft of firearms on Colonel Furberger's home. Manufacturing PCP in his own home. Accessory murder of several ballas and Ellis Vagos when robbing a train. The robbery of said train. Robbing the National Guard Freight Depot. Murder of several National Guardsmen. Accessory conspiracy murder of several Grove Street members when conspiring with Big Smoke and Tenpenny. Conspiracy drug distribution when meeting with the Loco Syndicate. Drug distribution and drug dealing when meeting the Loco Syndicate at Pier 69. Though Ryder was most definitely responsible for the deaths of several Grove Street gangsters, he was arguably responsible for the death of even more ballas over the course of his lifetime, and even during his time as a double agent. While Ryder may not have a kill count approaching that of his fellow OGs, we must once again stress that his actions at gang activity prior to 1992 are unknown and, more importantly, unknowable. We can only ever give you a glimpse at the horrors the subjects of this show are capable of, and tonight is no exception. What makes a man tick? Is it jealousy and envy? Or is it that tempting drug of American exceptionalism we all inhale on a daily basis? You decide. America is a dangerous place, folks, and the streets of gangland Los Santos are the last place you want to be when the wrong person walks down the wrong road wearing the wrong color. Stay indoors, people. You never know if that weirdo in line behind you is preparing to rob you of your very expensive coin collection. I'll see you next time on GTA Biographies with me, your host, Guinness Walker. Thank you for watching.